Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Shanley Show. As you can tell from the title of this video, this is some more thoughts on the Woobles, and this is coming from a perspective of having used the Beyond the Narwhal pattern a little bit more. I modified it a little bit to make these little rainbow Pride Month whales, which I named Wally the Whale, and then I did this narwhal version, Beyond the Narwhal Pride version, and the original video that I did on this topic, which was a monthly Thursdays video for the month of April, that will be linked down below in the description. But this video, as I mentioned, is coming from having done a few more of the Beyond the Narwhal patterns, and a lot of this I mentioned in the description of that monthly Thursdays video, but I wanted to make another video kind of discussing it a little bit more and elaborating a little bit more in detail and depth, because I do think that there are pros and cons to the Woobles, and I do think that the company can address it a little bit better. I wouldn't necessarily call these issues. I would just say that, sorry, before I continue, apologies, I'm sorry about my door if it closes and opens a little bit while I'm talking. I'm not going to try to not talk or to edit out the squeaking part. My window's open because there's a nice breeze, it's a nice day outside. My door just doesn't close properly. Anyway, as I was saying, like, I wouldn't necessarily call these issues, it's just these are things that I feel like could be done better to make the Woobles more worth it, as I said it in my last video, as I described it in my last video. These are things that can make it more worth it, more monetarily worth it, time worth it. I did mention in that original video that it is worth it for the first kit you buy. When you buy that first kit, like mine was the Beyond the Narwhal kit, like that in itself was worth the, I think it was like maybe $25-ish, maybe a little bit more, and it was worth it for the price considering everything you got. You got the polyfill you needed, you got the yarn you needed, and then some to make the product, to make the Wooble. You got the safety eyes, you got instructions on how to do sewn eyes if you're making this for a small child, you got video instructions, short video instructions that were very easy to follow. For that first kit, it was worth the $20 to $35 range that they cost. However, I do think that after you buy that first kit, the $20 to $35 plus price range becomes less worth it if you're looking at trying to find or trying to do another Woobles project. Like, the $25 to $30 price range isn't worth it. The reason why I say that is because they present these in kits. They present it in kits where you get all the items you need, which, as I said, if you're just getting into crocheting, if you're just getting into this and don't have the items needed, the items available, then yes, it's worth the $20 to $35 plus price range. But again, once you have a 4mm hook, once you have a threading needle, like, where's my, I have a thing of, where is it? Here it is. I have two things of threading needles that are varying sizes. I already have, I'm not using these YouTube. I already have multiple pairs of scissors, and I don't think they include scissors in the kit. Maybe they do. I can't remember. I don't think they included scissors in the wee woobly bits. But it's like, once you have all of the materials, like, I already have a lot of yarn, which is how I made all of like the Pride rainbow versions of it. I have a full bag of, well, no, it's not so full because I've used a lot of it. Before I started making all those extra ones, I had a lot of polyfill. I'm probably going to need to get more polyfill soon for other projects, but I already have a lot of polyfill. I already have a lot of yarn that I've been getting from my grandmother, that I get from Joann's or Michael's or whatever. The yarn is useful, but at the same time, if you're used to using a certain type of yarn, you know how to work around it without it fraying or coming undone. So it's a situation after that first kit to continually be forced, so to say, to keep getting kits, keep getting the full kits when you already have all the materials needed and just want the pattern. It doesn't make sense. And if you already get a 4mm hook, I don't have my 4mm hook, my 4mm hook. I call it millimeter. I don't know if millimeter is the right thing, but whatever. My 4mm hook. I don't have the Woobles one, how I put it in my crochet bag. But taking that out of consideration, I already had a 4mm, a 4mm hook, which I'm already super used to. And like, I already have a bunch of stitch markers. I don't know where my thing of stitch markers is. Oh, here it is. I have a bunch of stitch markers. I have a bunch of safety eyes. These are also like noses for animals like dogs or cats. but like I have a bunch of safety eyes, I have a bunch of crochet stitches, I have a bunch of yarn. I'm starting on another one because I just want to practice my circles and stuff. I'm going to cut out that piece of yarn right now. The whole point of this is the fact that even if you're into crochet and want to try the Woobles, my argument is the fact that you're almost being forced to get excess materials when if you're like me and already have all of the materials accessible. It's almost pointless to be forced to get the Woobles kit when you just want the pattern or just need one little thing. Like I was saying, it gets to a point where being forced to continually buy full kits becomes less worth the price of $20 to $35 plus. And a lot of them are, very few of them are $20 to $25. A lot of them are $30 to $35 plus, which again, after that first kit, the price isn't worth it when you have all of the materials, especially when you have all of the materials after that first kit. And some of the suggestions that I made in the description of the last video I did on this topic, I put this as I do think there's room for improvement, such as selling individual aspects of the kits like they do with the yarn, because they already sell the yarn on its own. And I am 90% sure I've seen the Woobles yarn in Michael's and maybe on Amazon too, but they should sell other aspects of the kits individually, the pattern, the tutorial, the stuffing, the polyfill, for less of a price, because honestly I think if they did that, they would make more of a profit from people who like their patterns, who like their tutorials and like their materials, but don't necessarily need a full kit, who maybe are just looking for a tutorial or are maybe just need a little bit of polyfill. You know, it's as simple as that. I honestly think they would be making so much more of a profit, because I don't think I'm going to be getting another Woobles kit. Like, I know my friend had got a couple of the Woobles kits and I might just ask her for, this is so bad and I feel really bad saying this, but I might just ask my friend for the patterns and she's already bought it. So it's like, I'm not going to drop another $30+ on another kit when I already have all of the materials accessible. The second suggestion I made was customizable kits, like what I was saying earlier. If they're out of polyfill, if they need more safety eyes, if they can't find their 4mm hook, they can get that, or they can opt out of certain items. Like if they have too much polyfill, they can say like, I don't need polyfill, I don't need a second, third, fourth, or even fifth 4mm hook, I don't need more yarn. They should be able to customize the kit, saying like, okay, I need the tutorial, I need polyfill, and I need this color yarn. Like, I don't need all of the yarn, you know? I don't need everything that comes in the kit. I need one or two things. The third suggestion that I made in the description of my last video was varying yarn sizes, and like keep the patterns the same, because you can pretty much do the same patterns for varying yarn sizes. It'll obviously be bigger, but like the same pattern can be applied to bigger yarn or smaller yarn. Well, I don't know about smaller yarn, but the same pattern can be applied to bigger yarn sizes, bigger yarn weights. I would love to make a Bjorn the Narwhal plushie, like a giant plushie from blanket yarn, you know? It's a situation where they could do varying yarn sizes, where it's like they make their own yarn in multiple sizes. And again, I feel like they would make more money that way too, because that would also teach more skills within crocheting if they did varying yarn sizes and allowed for more specific tutorials for the varying yarn sizes. But as for some other suggestions as well, they should allow for, like, the thing is before I did the Woobles, the Bjorn Narwhal for the first time, I was very much a written out pattern type of a person. Video patterns and video tutorials have started to grow on me, but even now, like, I wrote down the whole pattern for Bjorn the Narwhal because I've seen those videos so many times at this point. I wrote down the pattern and now I just refer to that. So I feel like they should offer written patterns of their kits as well. Something that another crochet creator who I follow, and I've found a couple of patterns from, Sab Stuffies, who I'll link her YouTube channel down below in the description. But something she does is she has the video, she has a QR code of the video like the Woobles does, but she also has like a step-by-step instruction pattern written out for the people who may prefer written out patterns over the video tutorials. And the written out patterns are more of a supplemental supplemental where it's like you do need to watch the video, but the written out steps are there to kind of help you guide. And once you watch the video, you're like, okay, I understand what the written out pattern is saying and I know what to do, and now I can just refer to the written out stuff. So I feel like if they did something like that as well, that would really help cater to a wider audience. Because when I was doing Bjorn the Narwhal for the first time, like it got to a point where I was like, I don't need to watch how to do an invisible fasten off 3 times to do both fins and then to do part of the tail. I don't need to watch an invisible fasten off for the tooth as well. Like I don't need to watch how to crochet like the right way, like the right side out of crocheting. I don't need to watch that every single time I'm watching through the videos just to get to the next part, you know? And the thing is, a lot of the times when I was doing like the second Bjorn the Narwhal, when I was doing like later the whales even, like in just omitting the tooth, it is a tooth by the way, not a horn, not the point. When I was doing the whales and omitting the tooth, like I was just skipping ahead to where they would show the written part of the pattern. Like I was writing it down on post-its, but I would skip to where it would show this, you know, this is what you do in rows 11 through 16, you know? So that's why I feel like a written pattern would come in handy, even if it's more of a supplemental pattern to the video where it just shows like, where it's just like the basics, like row 1 is the magic ring, 6 single crochet, row 2 is 6 increases, row 3 is single crochet then increase 6 times, and you get 18 stitches in total. So it's stuff like that, you know, where it's like, even if it's the bare bones pattern and then you have to watch the actual video to understand what they mean by that. Because like me, I didn't need to be watching the videos all the way through when I just wanted the number of stitches for the row. And it's also why I typed up the pattern itself, because I was just like, I do not want to keep referring to the videos, because it got to a point where I was just getting annoyed by gardeners. But it was getting to a point where I was skipping through the videos trying to find the written out patterns where it was like, okay, this is what you do for these rows. And it's like, then I would sometimes go too far ahead. It's like, oh shit, I went one video too far, or I went like 5 seconds too far. And the thing is too, is like on the note of like the videos and like skipping through the stuff, like, and like not needing to see it X amount of times when you're just trying to find what to do for that row, the next row. I don't need to be walked through the step-by-steps, and like, yes, you can skip through, but there should be like an option to this whole point. There should be that option of like, okay, do you want the written one? Are you returning to this pattern and just want the written one, or do you want the video? I feel like there should be like 2 video options almost. One video option where it's like a step-by-step walkthrough, and then another video of like a lot of Sabrina Steffi's videos where you just like walk through it, where you like you see it being done and then you're being told, but it's not like a lot of the videos for the Woobles are a very slow walkthrough, where with Sab Steffi's videos it's like she just does it and it's like you get the pattern and you know what to do, but like a lot of the times it's just like, okay, this is what you do, this is how you do it, and you have the option to rewind, go forward if you need to. Where with the Woobles, it just is too slow of a walkthrough and too much of a step-by-step walkthrough when you already know what to do. And if you're returning to the same pattern, or if you have a new Woobles kit, then having that step-by-step walkthrough, even if it's like a beginner-friendly pattern or an advanced pattern, like having the step-by-step walkthrough, it gets to a point where that doesn't make sense when you already know how to do a lot of the stitches and just need the pattern itself. Where to put the eyes, where to put a nose if it has a nose, where to put the tooth on Bjorn the Narwhal, where to put fins, where to put a tail, you know, stuff like that. You just need to know what to do without being walked through every single step like you're a beginner. I understand that the Woobles were created for beginner crocheters, but I feel like a lot of people return to the Woobles for more patterns because they do have a lot of really cute patterns. But I feel like the Woobles should cater to those people who want to return and maybe just want the tutorial or the pattern for the fox or the unicorn or the Hello Kitty characters or the Powerpuff Girl characters. You know, they just want the pattern, and yes, have access to the videos as well, just in case they need to watch through how to do something or need like a refresher on it. But it's like, but I honestly think that they do really need to cater both to beginner crocheters and to returning crocheters or crocheters who are already used to a lot of stuff and just need the pattern. At this point, I feel like I'm repeating myself, and unedited, this video is already basically at the 25-minute mark, and I feel like I've said what I needed to say, and again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I doubt the Woobles will see my videos on this topic just because like I tagged them in my other one, but I highly doubt they'll see that one or this one. I'm not meaning this video as an attack on the Woobles, because conceptually, as I think I said in my last video, conceptually I think the Woobles is worth it, especially for beginner crocheters. But as I've said, after that first kit, it becomes less worth it because their only options for buying are either buy the kit or buy the yarn. I'm really sorry for all the noise, and I don't think we're gonna stop anytime soon, which is also why I'm trying to wrap up. As I said, I'm not really meaning this as an attack because I did really enjoy doing Beyond the Narwhal. I'm enjoying doing all the whale versions that I've done. I'm enjoying doing them all, and it's really fun, really easy to do, and something that's really repetitive after a while and calming. But I do think that there are some improvements to be made, and I do think it is really great conceptually and could be even better with set improvements. So with all that said, I'm gonna officially end it here. If you have any other thoughts on the Woobles, any specific patterns or kits that you enjoy doing, please mention it down below in the comments. I would love to know anyone else's thoughts, what other kits you enjoy doing. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.